There is something you do every single day that you almost never think about. You tell stories. To yourself, to other people, in your head while you're in the shower, while you're lying awake at 2 a.m., while you're sitting in traffic replaying a conversation that happened 3 days ago. You are, almost without interruption, narrating. And here's what nobody tells you about that: it isn't a habit. It isn't creativity. It isn't even communication. It's survival infrastructure. As old as your species. As fundamental as breathing. And once you understand what stories are actually doing inside your brain, and inside the brains of everyone listening to you, you will never think about the way you speak, the way you remember, or the way you connect with other people the same way again. Here's the part nobody tells you: you don't tell stories to inform people. You tell stories to get inside their heads. And your brain evolved specifically to make that happen. Let's go back. Way back. To a small band of humans on the African savanna, roughly 200,000 years ago. You are living with the same 30 people your entire life. And the most dangerous thing about your world isn't the predators. It isn't the weather. It's the coordination problem. How do you get 30 people, each with their own fear, their own hunger, their own agenda, to act as one unit when a threat appears? How do you transmit what you learned yesterday to someone who wasn't there? How do you build a shared model of reality across minds that can't directly touch each other? You tell a story. Not a metaphor. A literal biological mechanism. Because when you hear a coherent narrative, not a list of facts, not a set of instructions, but a story with characters and tension and stakes, your brain doesn't process it as information. It processes it as experience. The same neural regions that fire when you live through something fire when you hear it described vividly enough. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between the two. Neuroscientist Uri Hasson at Princeton University spent years studying what happens inside human brains during storytelling. In a landmark study published in 2010, he placed both a speaker and a listener inside separate fMRI scanners and measured their brain activity in real time. What he found was extraordinary. As the speaker told a story, the listener's brain began to mirror the speaker's brain, not metaphorically, but literally. The same regions activated. The same patterns emerged. In the same sequence. With only a short time delay. Hasson called this neural coupling. Two brains, physically separated, temporarily running the same program. Neural coupling. That's the name. Here's what it means: the synchronization of brain activity between a speaker and a listener during effective storytelling, where the listener's neural patterns begin to mirror the speaker's. And here's why it matters to you: every time someone truly understands what you're saying, every time you feel genuinely heard, what's happening isn't emotional. It's neurological. Two brains are briefly becoming one. But Hasson found something else. Something that changes the stakes entirely. The degree of neural coupling predicted comprehension. The more the listener's brain mirrored the speaker's, the better they understood. The less coupling, the less understanding. But here's the part that should stop you cold: the coupling only happened during stories. Not during lists of facts. Not during explanations. Not during data. Stories. Your brain evolved a specific mechanism for synchronizing with other minds. And that mechanism only activates for narrative. Think about the last time someone explained something to you using pure information, dates, statistics, steps, and you retained almost none of it. Now think about the last time someone told you a story about the same topic and you remembered it years later. That difference isn't attention. That's two different biological systems being activated. One stores data. The other stores lived experience. And lived experience is what your ancestors needed to survive. Because 200,000 years ago, you couldn't afford to learn everything yourself. You couldn't personally experience every predator, every poisonous plant, every failed strategy. You needed a way to download other people's experience directly into your own nervous system. Story was that download mechanism. Hear the right story vividly enough and your brain files it not under things I was told, but under things that happened. And that filing system never changed. Researcher Paul Zak at Claremont Graduate University found in 2013 that narratives with tension and human stakes trigger the release of oxytocin, the same neurochemical released during physical touch and trust bonding. A well-told story doesn't just inform you. It chemically alters your brain state toward openness, cooperation, and connection. You become, briefly, more trusting. More willing to share. More coordinated with the person who told it. This is what ancient storytellers were actually doing around the fire. Not entertaining. Not preserving culture. Running a neurochemical coordination protocol that temporarily bound the group into a single cooperative unit. Have you ever noticed that you can't remember most of the lectures you sat through, but you can recall with startling clarity a story someone told you 10 years ago about something that happened to them? That asymmetry isn't randomness. Your brain has a hierarchy of what's worth storing. And experience, real or simulated through story, sits at the top. The next time you need someone to understand something important, not just hear it, but actually integrate it, don't give them information. Give them a character. Give them tension. Give them stakes. Because the part of their brain that stores lived experience is waiting to be activated. And facts alone will never reach it. Sound familiar? You've been doing this your whole life. Every time you led with, "this one time," instead of a statistic. Every time you explained your position through something that happened to you instead of an argument. Every time you stayed up late listening to someone tell you about their life, feeling something shift in your chest, that was neural coupling. That was two nervous systems trying to become one. Story isn't something humans invented. It's something evolution built into us. Because the species that could share experience across minds, without both people having to live through it, was always going to outlast the one that couldn't. You are not a person who tells stories. You are a story-processing organism who occasionally forgets that's what you are.